Hi ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Green. This is another in my lessons in Algebra 1. In Unit 1, we're looking at equations and translating words into equations. So we're going to see if we can't take uh, and model some situations. We're going to try to translate series of words into equations that we can then solve since we learned how to solve them last time. Okay? So remember when we were doing this before, we had some specific words that meant different types of operations. So there were words for addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And don't forget, is means equals. Okay? Okay. Now, do you use all the values that you might find in a problem? Well, this is one way that writers of these type of word problems um, add difficulty into the problems. They don't necessarily want you to put everything into an equation. So there might be some extra information in there that will not be necessary to solve the problem, and you have to read very carefully to make certain you're hearing everything that needs to be done. One of the ways that you can do this is read the problem aloud. Now, can you do that? Yeah, we're talking about at the ELC test. Is it possible for you to do it? Because I know sitting there at home, it shouldn't be a problem for you to read a problem aloud and be able to hear the way the problem is worded. But when you go to take these state tests, is it possible that you can read aloud? Yes. Now, be a little reasonable. You don't want to use your outside voice. You don't want to yell like you're screaming across the playground at someone or something like that. But you can read it aloud so that you can hear it and not bother other people. If the proctor thinks that you're being a little loud, they might try to move you around a little bit to get you a place where you won't bother other people. But it is important that you hear the words, okay? Sometimes reading aloud, you hear things that your eyes read over and you might not understand it. So it's always better to try to read a problem aloud. Let's try one. This says, your two brothers ate 12 of your muffins. That was 3/10 of all of the muffins, of all of them. How many did you start with? Well, you know, this is one of those things where reading this out loud might help you recognize that your two brothers is extra information. You're not going to use that. They ate 12 of your muffins, and that was 3/10 of all of them. So let's see here. 3/10 of, that would be times them, that's the muffins, M, and that was the same thing as saying is 12. 12 is 3/10 of all of them. So what we're going to do with this one is I'm going to draw my little line here, and I'm going to say, well, I'm trying to solve for how many did I start with. I'm going to solve for my muffins. So that means I'm going to multiply by 10 to begin with. Why am I multiplying by 10? Because 10 divided by 10 becomes 1. That cancels each other out, and I'm left with 3m. And over here I've got 120. Still balanced, so I'm in good shape. Now I'm going to divide by 3. Why am I dividing by 3? Because 3 divided by 3 is 1. That's going to tell me m. How many muffins I started with? Well, I need to divide this side by 3, and I started with 40 muffins. Can you see how reading this aloud helped me to eliminate this as one of the things? I might have tried to throw that 2 in there somewhere to make it work out correctly, but that's not what was being asked of me here. So make certain you're finding everything you need to find in a sentence, okay? So you can see how I'm circling and highlighting and underlining. Any of those type of techniques that help you understand what you need to use in the equation will help you solve this equation is worth doing. Let's try another one here. Lisa is cooking muffins. The recipe calls for 7 cups of sugar. She already has put in 2 cups. How many more cups does she need to put in? Well, how many cups does she need to put in? That's my variable. That's what I'm going to put my C. I'm going to put that down as C. Okay? C plus 2. Why? The cup she needs to put in plus the 2 she's already put in has to equal 7, because that's what it calls for. Draw my line, subtract 2 from both sides, and the cups is equal to 5. She needs to put 5 more cups in there. Okay, simple example, but it's one of those things where, yeah, it's real. If you were cooking something, you need to know how many more of something you need to put in. This is the way you could do it. Okay? So, number 2, at a restaurant, Mike and his 3 friends decided to divide the bill evenly. If each person paid $13, then what was the total bill? Wait a second. 3 friends. That means if my bill divided by 3 was equal to 13. How did I get that? Well, there are 3 friends here, and they're dividing it. So I'm taking the total bill, dividing it by 3. Okay? Each person paid $13. That's where that came from. So I'm going to say, okay, that's the equation I need to solve. Drawing my line, multiplying both sides by 3, I'm going to get that the bill was equal to $39. Okay? So let's look at number 3 over here. How many packages of diapers? See right there where it says how many packages of diapers? That's what they're wanting you to use for the variable. D. How many packages of diapers can you buy with $40? Okay? Diapers equals $40 if one package costs $8. $8 in the front. 8 times the number of packages equals $40. So I'm going to divide by 8 on both sides of this equation. Divide by 8, and I'm going to get that the number of packages of diapers I could buy is 5. Oh, I forgot to draw my line there so you can see it, but you see how that works, right? Okay, last Friday, Trevon had $29. Over the weekend, he received, what does received mean? That means I'm going to add some money for cleaning the attic. He now has $41. Let's see here. So Trevon plus, or he had $29. Oops, I'm not going to use that. Try again. Okay? So over the weekend he received some more money. So let's see here. So it's $29 plus some money he got over the weekend equals $41. And it's asking how much did he receive. That's what this W is, how much he received over the weekend. So if I subtract 29 from both sides, why was I subtracting 29? Because 29 is being added on here. I could have said weekend plus 29, and then you would see it real easily that it's there. But this way, it's more difficult to see, but you're still going to do the same thing. You're going to subtract 29 from both sides. And over the weekend, he received $12. Okay. Okay. So you can, hopefully you can see reading aloud, highlighting, underlining, circling, anything that helps you recognize what needs to be done in a word problem is a technique for you to write that word problem out as an equation and then solve it down. You can see how we are trying to use that algebraic concept to solve problems. That's what we're trying to get to, being able to solve problems, and we're going to be inducing more and more techniques and more little issues that might come up over time, but the basic is still here. We're trying to solve problems, and that's what algebra is for. Okay, well, I hope if you have any questions, you're bringing them to the tutoring sessions and coming to Class Connects. I look forward to seeing you next time we get together.